Coming up on the Montana Right Now News at 5. Bighorn County mourns as another Montanan dies from the coronavirus. Plus, while Glacier National Park begins to reopen, coronavirus keeps one main entrance closed to the public.
Biggest change is we're going to look at what we're doing and see what we can do better.
Following the death of George Floyd, Montana law enforcement takes a second look at their own procedures. But first, we take you live to protests happening right now across Montana.
From around the big sky and your local news station, this is Montana Right Now.
Thanks for being with us for this special edition of Montana Right Now. We have crews positioned throughout the state as Montanans come together in peaceful protest against racial injustices in several cities. Good evening, I'm Angela Marshall, and we'll head to the streets in just a moment. But first, we do have some serious weather rolling in that we need to tell you about tonight. Our weather authority, Jordan Blaine, is standing by. Jordan, what are you tracking for us tonight?
And well, for western and central Montana, I am tracking thunderstorms, heavy rain, and with those thunderstorms, we could be seeing winds get up to about 60 miles per hour, as well as hail about the size of a quarter this evening. So tonight, we're seeing those thunderstorms. Tomorrow, we're going to continue to see quite the rainy weather, as well as more chances of thunderstorms. And then as we head into the rest of our weekend, a lot more rain. So Montana, don't go anywhere. I'll break down tonight, Saturday, and Sunday for you.
Thanks so much, Jordan. The family of George Floyd, who died in police custody, mourned the loss of their loved one in Minneapolis yesterday. 4 former Minneapolis police officers are charged in his death. Today, protests against police brutality and racial injustice continue across the nation, including right here in Montana. To begin our team coverage of the peaceful protests in Montana, we go first to the Missoula County Courthouse, and our Ben Wyman joins us live downtown tonight, where people have actually showed up every day this week. But Ben, I understand a planned rally for tonight is actually canceled.
Really, today and the last entire week. Good evening, Angela. As you can see behind me, it's kind of been really the last entire week. This has been the spot for protests here in the city of Missoula. I'm going to step out of the shot so my photographer Joe can get some really powerful images going on right now. You see probably over 100 people participating in what we're calling maybe a lay-in is what you're maybe calling it, but at least laying on the ground, kind of imitating what George Floyd, where he was when he died back in Minneapolis a little over a week ago. They've been doing this for the last 5 minutes. I'd say, Angela, so far, the protesters have been extremely peaceful. I think the whole air just kind of has been emanating peace. It's just been actually just really cool to see. There have been cars that have been driving by every 30 seconds. You hear a car horn. There actually was supposed to be an official protest going on this evening. It should have started at 5 o'clock, but late last night, organizers actually canceled that protest just because they weren't sure. They actually were not even expecting that many people to show up and be a part of this protest. And so they officially just canceled it for safety reasons. But right now, everyone's going strong and doing some powerful demonstrating in a peaceful way here in the Garden City. Tonight, we're going to kind of keep an eye on this protest, see how things progress, see if we can talk to some folks. But right now, we're actually going to turn to southwest Montana. A crowd is actually gathered at Bogart Park in Bozeman. Our Rachel Louise Jess joins us there live right now. Rachel, what's the scene like there?
Thank you, Ben. An astounding number of people here today at Bozeman's Bogart Park. They say around 3,000 people. And as you can see, we're standing on top of a play structure right now for you to be able to see the massive size of this crowd. Everyone here masked up, social distancing as much as they can. And what they've just announced to us is that they're going to have us walk down Main Street and spread out 6 feet apart. That's in support, showing these businesses that they want to support the Black Lives Matter movement as well as Indigenous lives. And right here we have had BIPOC, which is Black and Indigenous people of color, speaking out here today, trying to encourage them to be really peaceful out here. We even had everyone promise to be peaceful and tell them exactly what to do if someone is starting to instigate something, a song to sing, something that you can say to try and de-escalate tension. So they're doing everything they can to make sure that this massive crowd is just staying calm, getting their message across. And now I'm going to send things over to central Montana, where Afiq is telling us what he's experienced. He's been with the crowd over as protesters organized a march from Great Falls Civic Center over to the federal courthouse. Afiq, what can you tell us about what's going on over there?
Rachel, the rally started just a few minutes ago, but people started showing up early, and now there's a sizable crowd by the steps of the Civic Center. Some of them wearing, some of them holding signs, a lot of them wearing masks. And I spoke to a few of the speakers today, and they tell me they're trying to spark a conversation against racial injustice. And according to some of the organizers, they're making a few requests to the local police department, asking them to review their own policies, prioritize de-escalation training, and asking the city to extend its deadline for the Police Commission Board, which expired on May 29th. Now, as the evening goes on, the protesters will move on from the Civic Center to the Missouri River Bridge, which you can't see is towards my left, and they'll make their way towards the federal courthouse, where they'll stay until 7 p.m. But over in southern Montana, people in the town are getting ready for a protest on Sunday, and Cornelia Nicholson, joins us live in Billings. Cornelia, what can we expect there?
Thanks, Afiq. We've seen protests not only in America, but all over the world. From Sweden to Africa, millions are taking place in protests and showing their support for not only George Floyd, but for the Black Lives Matter movement. With peaceful demonstrations taking place all over Montana, the Billings community is coming together to hold what may be the biggest rally we've seen thus far in the Treasure State this Sunday. The protest will take place on the lawn of the Yellowstone County Courthouse. We spoke with rally organizers at the Billings Leadership Conference Thursday addressing Sunday's event, and they say they're just wanting to bring awareness to the Montana community that racism still exists.
I think a lot of people have a misconception about this rally, whereas to say that this rally is to go against police and what they do, that's not true at all. This is to go against racism and corruption, no matter what form it takes. There's a lot of good officers out there willing to help, and I think that you guys definitely saw a glance of that today with the officers willing to speak.
Rally organizers say Sunday's demonstration is meant to be peaceful. When I last checked the Facebook post, over 900 people say they will be in attendance, and almost 2,000 said they are interested in attending. Coming up at 6:30, I speak with local businesses about their concerns over this weekend's rally. But for now, I'll send things back to you, Angela, for more news around the state.
Thank you so much, Cornelia, and to everyone who was live at those peaceful protests. Well, law enforcement officers around the state have taken to social media to address recent rumors that out-of-state groups are planning to come to Montana with the intent to incite violence. And this is what Missoula Police Chief Jason White had to say.
We firmly believe that it has been rumor and speculation in working with law enforcement agencies in the areas where these outside agitators were coming from, supposedly, in those posts. We've been working with those law enforcement agencies, and they are not providing us any information that validates that those agitators are within their community, let alone coming to Missoula. So I just want to put some people's minds at ease to know that that is, at this point in time, simply not true.
And all of the law enforcement members we spoke to in Montana echoed Chief White's beliefs that these are simply just rumors and believe there is no group of agitators headed to Montana to incite violence. It's not just something local officials are weighing in on, but it's something Governor Bullock is keeping an eye on as well. And tonight, he's asking, as you get ready to protest, please do so safely.
Look, we need to allow people to peacefully demonstrate, and there's a lot to demonstrate about. But I think that you can actually do that in a peaceful way which doesn't destroy property.
And in the aftermath of recent events, the Helena Police Department is looking at revamping their policies and procedures. The Helena Police Chief reached out to the city manager before the city commission meeting, asking for appropriate funding to update and modernize their current policies. The police chief says during this process, they will also be listening to the community for input on what they would like to see and how law enforcement can strengthen their relationship with citizens.
The biggest change is we're going to look at what we're doing and see what we can do better. Look at, we're doing things well. Leave those in place. If the community thinks they want this to be done differently and this to be done differently, I think that's great. I think getting community involvement is the best thing that could come out of this.
And if you would like to reach out to the Helena Police Department about any comments or concerns, you can find this story on our website. Well, still to come on this special edition of Montana right now, the sounds of pomp and circumstance, a day to be celebrated for seniors all across Missoula County, but the celebrations looked a lot different this year, and we'll show you coming up later. And also, severe weather is approaching Montana, and it is expected to arrive as soon as tonight. Our Jordan Blaine has issued a weather authority alert for this evening, and will tell us what this means coming up in our evening report.